Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Ground Pass podcast. I'm back. I'm back in the office, which means I'm back in New York, which means the Cincinnati Open is over. Hello, I've missed everyone. I've missed New York. It is so great to be back. This is going to be a little bit of a mini pod. It's just me today. It's just Anastasia. Nick will be back once we start doing our pods for the US Open. But for now, we are just going to be talking about Cincinnati. This is what I'm going to be calling a roundup. We're going to be rounding up the Cincinnati Open. The Cincinnati Open wrapped up yesterday. It was a Monday final because the schedule right now is a hot mess. Tennis schedule is scheduling. And it's really hard for me to kind of talk about the schedule. And I think I've talked to Nick about doing a more in depth episode about the tennis schedule because it's hard for me to sort of discuss what the schedule is now because guess what? It's changing next year. It's going to be different next year. But I think with these 2 week masters and the way they're doing it now, and then with Canada and Cincinnati, instead of being full 2 week masters, they're splitting 3 weeks. And Canada had their final on a Thursday, and Cincinnati had their final on a Monday, and the US Open quali started on a Monday, and their mixed doubles championship is starting today, which is Tuesday. It's all happening. It's all happening. By the way, the finalists who were in the finals, so basically 3 of the finalists who actually all 4 of them were initially in the mixed doubles championship. And now what it looks like is Jasmine Paolini withdrew before the finals. Jannik, which I'll talk about, withdrew after the finals. And it looks like Carlos Alcaraz and Iga Swiatek will be playing mixed doubles today at the US Open. I'm going to be there. Follow us on social media and find out if they do step on court. We will see quite the turnaround. But yeah, so that's all for another day. Today we are going to round up Cincinnati. And what I thought we would do is I'll talk about the finals, but I want to talk about the best of and the worst of the Cincinnati Open because I was there for 7 days, a very long time. One of the longest I've been at a tournament, and it was great to sort of be there for so long because the entire tournament completely changed. It is a whole new tournament. I was there last year and I thought coming in this year, oh, I've been there before. I'm going to recognize what it looks like. Not really. There were some leftovers, but the renovations really did completely change the vibe of this tournament. And if you want to go back and look at what really did change with the grounds, I really did an in-depth, deep dive coverage of all of the changes in our Substack. Ground Pass on site. I did 7 days of 7 different elements of the grounds. I covered the food. I covered different courts. Like I did short courts. I did the outer courts. I did practice courts. I did merch, everything. The grounds. I ended with the landscaping because if you don't know, I love plants. I really do love plants. So all of that is in our Substack. I will link that all below in the show notes of this episode so you can go back and look at it all. It's all free. You don't have to pay for our Substack. But if you have the means and you want to support us here at Ground Pass, you can pay to support us and keep us going. Keep the basement running, keep the electricity going. But yes, it is free to subscribe and you can check all of that out. And you can also check out all of the tournaments I've been to. I have been running Ground Pass on site all the way back to Del Rey in February. So you can look at all of the Ground Passes on site from then. But yeah, let us look back at the finals of the Cincinnati Open. They were between Jannik and Carlos Alcaraz again, one more time. Remember when we were praying for times like this? Remember when we were like, oh, if only Carlos and Alcaraz could just play a final. Like, wouldn't that be great? Now we can't get enough of it. Now they just keep playing finals. Onto that, and on the women's side, it was Iga Swiatek and Jasmine Paolini. But let's start with the men because it was quick. It was quick. But yes, we got another Alcaraz final at the Cincinnati Open, and it's just kind of become an inevitability at this point. This rivalry that we have been living for the last couple of years, it's been bubbling, it's been boiling. They've definitely have tons of meetings over the last couple of years. We were waiting for them to meet at a final, and then they finally did at Roland Garros, and it was as epic as we ever thought it would be. And then immediately they meet again at Wimbledon, at another final, and we're like, oh my god, it's so great. And here they are again. And it's kind of become one of these things where I don't see how they don't just keep meeting. If they get into a tournament and they make it to the final, it's become inevitable. And I was sort of posting messages throughout the tournament and stuff, and I was especially talking about Sinner and how boring could be the word his matches have become, because there's just no competition. And it could be sort of an element of his draw at Cincinnati specifically this time, where you're just sort of like, there's no one pushing him. There's no one really pushing him. And it's sort of like, do we just have to keep waiting till he gets to Carlos and then we get a match, with Sinner? And what does the rest of the tour have to do in order to get to the level to push Sinner? He's become so, so good. Like, he is light years away from most of the players on tour and is not really pushed until he gets to Sinner. Funny enough, at this tournament, the two players that pushed him, that really, like, the matches got exciting, were Adrian Manarino and Terence Atmane. Two French players who came out of Adrian Manarino has been around for a while, came from Qualies. We know who he is, but, I think he's such an unusual player that Sinner didn't really know what to do with him. He eventually won, and Terence Atmane was the star of this tournament. And, of course, I don't think Sinner also expected. And, I mean, Terence was serving so well in his match against Sinner. So I think that really did help as well. But, yeah, a lot of Sinner's matches, for the most part, were just too routine. They were too routine. On the other hand, Alcaraz, as Mitch Michael of the Tennis Channel and I call him, our little drummer boy, just the excitement was overwhelming. He doesn't know what a straight set match is. He doesn't know what that concept is. He must wander and discover and, explore and find a third set somewhere to dive into, as we as we say. But he keeps it exciting. And that's Carlos. And that's why I think a lot of people love him, because he keeps things exciting. He keeps you on the edge of your seat. There's no sort of calmness and, serenity about a Carlos Alcaraz match. You're always on the edge of your seat. You're always sort of like, how did we get here? Carlos Alcaraz, drummer boy. And that is, I think, also what makes this rivalry between Jannik Sinner and Carlos Alcaraz so good, because they're so different. One is sort of clinical, straight-laced, takes care of business, knows what to do. And then the other one is driving golf carts around with a trophy. I broke the news there, but Carlos Alcaraz won this Alcaraz match because there really wasn't a match. Unfortunately, Jannik Sinner had to withdraw. He was sick. And at first I thought it was part of the heat wave situation that was going on in Cincinnati. But what I think it's turning out to be is Jannik Sinner had food poisoning of some nature. He was sick the day before and actually didn't think he would come on court, but felt like he owed it to the fans who paid a lot of money to show up. And he took to the court, but then just could not continue and retired at 5 love. So there wasn't much of a final on the men's side, and he had to retire. So that was a bummer of a men's final, and Carlos Alcaraz took the trophy by default and is making his way to New York. Hopefully Sinner is fine. I'm sure he'll be fine. If it's food poisoning, as long as it's not, terrible food poisoning, he should be fine for the US Open. My thought is he definitely will be withdrawing from the mixed doubles championship and will just take those few days to recover and then start prepping for his single, to defend his singles championship because he won last year. On the women's side, on the other hand, Jasmine Paolini and Iga Swiatek gave us a show. Iga Swiatek this tournament has been awesome. She, came in post Wimbledon, and she did play Canada, but I think everyone was still sort of like in that post Wimbledon high. So a lot of people are like, post Wimbledon, like, she played Canada, guys. She was there. But she came into Cincinnati just still off of that high and just played really well, was serving really well. And I don't think she likes playing on faster courts. I think just like Carlos a little bit, she's more of a natural court player. Clay is her surface as someone who's won the French Open numerous times. But she did so well here and really loved the conditions and served well and was so good on a fast surface that is Cincinnati, especially with the heat. And Jasmine Paolini coming into this tournament, I think we can say was on a bit of a low. I feel like this whole year for her has been so-so. I think the last couple of years have been such a high, she burst onto the scene, French Open finals, Wimbledon finals, just out of nowhere with that smile, that just joy. And then coming into this year, not able to defend those points. But she did win her home 1,000 level event in Rome. Like, that was a great moment. But even in press, she definitely did say she was trying to find confidence through this hard court swing. And every match she was winning, she would come into press a little happier. She was finding that confidence. And she just, I think, built that confidence up, and it just, every match was happier and happier. And by the end of it, was playing, the way she played Iga in the final, I was like, wow, she would have beaten anyone else, and she took Iga there. Like, she pushed Iga. There were some rallies. There was this one point that I was just like, point of the tournament, point of the year. And it was just like, Jasmine Paolini, how awesome are you? It was just really, really great. Take, for example, there was a moment in her match against Coco where she rolled her ankle. And, in that moment, there was so many, she could have probably even lost that match after that moment, but she was smiling. Like, the medic came out and she was like, she put ice on it immediately, and she was explaining it, and she was like, oh, I just rolled my ankle. And I was like, any other time you're like, woe is me, and how could this happen at this moment of the match? And no, she just took it in her stride and was explaining it, and went on to win the match. And yeah, she definitely had a great time, and they put on a great final. Iga came out the champion in the end. Really great tournament from her. And yeah, the women saved the day. They saved the day yesterday, because that could have been a disaster. But they saved the day. So yeah, those are the finals at Cincinnati. Now, let's talk about the best of and the worst of Cincinnati. The best of Cincinnati. Let's start with the good stuff. Good stuff. And this is going to include a lot of audio from press conferences. I'm just going to put that in there so you can hear from the players directly. One of my favorite moments was Iga Swiatek's press conference after one of her matches, where she goes on a tangent on Wicked. Tamani Carriol, I think, was the one who asked the question about her posting about Wicked. And who knew that this would lead to an absolute tangent on Iga's obsession with Wicked, musicals, and then what popular shows she hasn't watched yet, and she hasn't seen Game of Thrones. It was hilarious. It went on and on and on. She was like, this is the first time that I just want to keep this press conference going. It was epic. Here's the audio.
Wicked. I'm curious, just when did you watch it, and what about it clicked with you, I guess?
Oh my god, everything. Well, I watched it on the way to Montreal on the plane, and I loved everything. Like, first of all, I was always a Swiftie, so when Taylor was like big in 2014, 2016, Ariana also was big, but I kind of always compared them, and I liked Taylor more. So I didn't really listen to Ariana, and I didn't really care that much, you know. But then on Wicked, when I saw like what she did to perform that well, and how she raised her, you know, voice, and it could reach the, you know, the range she wasn't able to reach before, like how she performed overall, danced, act. Like, I didn't know she could do that. Like, probably people who were like interested knew that, but I was just shocked, and I got like huge amount of respect. And Cynthia Erivo as well. I don't know. I just discovered everything, and it was great. Also, like the film itself was like so much fun. The songs were amazing. Like, you can listen to them kind of every day. Some are pop, some are like less pop, but more like operatic. And also what they did to, sorry, that's gonna be the longest answer, to like the tribute to the original Broadway show. With Indina Menzel and Kirsten Kenowitz, like, it was just amazing. I loved it, and I got addicted to listening to the soundtrack. Now I kind of had to stop because I was singing the songs in my head like all the time, like even too much. So I'm kind of balancing it out, but yeah, everything was great. Sorry.
Has it ever come into your head in a match yet, or not?
Yeah, here not, because I've been like, okay, I need to chill. I need to focus on tennis, you know. But in Montreal, I was singing the soundtrack on court.
Will you see the show in New York?
Will I see the show? Well, that's a big question, because, you know, I don't know if I should wait for the second part of the movie or go watch the Broadway show. Usually, when I read a book, for example, I don't want to watch the movie because I don't want to ruin the like visual image of a book that I have in my head. So I have kind of the same dilemma right now, and I think I'm gonna wait till November, and hopefully, I mean, for sure the show is gonna be on next year, so I'm gonna watch the show then.
We'll switch to Polish if there's a couple of questions.
I want to continue. First time in my life. No, okay. Do you have any more questions about Wicked?
What was your favorite song?
Oh my god. Well, at first when I was watching the movie, I loved The Wizard and I. It was like the first one that was kind of, oh my god, this is getting to another level. Then Popular, just because it's fun and you can see how they interact and everything. And then One Day in Emerald City. So, and then Defying Gravity. I can't choose. But yeah, all of them are amazing, and you can't choose because they have totally different vibes. But four of these ones.
Any other questions?
No. And yours? Do you have a favorite one? Oh my god.
Yeah, Defying Gravity.
But what, like, when it first came out, you didn't watch it? Like, did you?
Yeah, I'm weird. I don't watch the things that are popular at the moment. I don't know why. Like, whole world is talking about them, and I'm like, whatever. And then suddenly, after a couple months, I'm still waiting for Game of Thrones to come to me. So, yeah, I
What
don't
else
know why.
haven't you watched?
What?
What else haven't you watched?
I haven't watched a lot of things,
Okay.
unfortunately.
Okay.
So,
Sopranos?
sorry?
The Sopranos? Have
No.
you? Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah,
There's a
I'm
lot.
not. Well, okay, now I'm gonna embarrass myself. So let's finish the.
Polish now.
Okay, sorry. That was a great moment. Like, I was laughing so hard at that press conference, and I didn't think it could get any better. But then the next day, Coco comes into press and someone asks her about Love Island. And well, um, I'm going to let Coco tell you about Love Island.
It seems like this summer you got super into Love Island, and so I'm just curious how you got into it and any takes you'd like to share with us.
Yeah, I got into it last season, obviously the whole famous season, and then this season I was able to start from the beginning. And yeah, I had a real bad addiction. It was like, I think it started like, yeah, around French Open time, and I would be like first thing in the morning waking up in Europe to watch it, Love Island, like 6 a.m. like, and I couldn't go on my phone until I watched it because I didn't want spoilers. My takes, I love Alandria and Shelley. I think they're so cute, and obviously, if you follow me on Twitter, you know I was a huge Nick Alandria stan. So I'm happy to see that they're still going good. But yeah, it was a fun summer. I was like, I think I had deleted Twitter after I think last week because I was like, I'm too involved with Love Island, and then tennis Twitter's coming up, and there's all this drama from that, and drama from Love Island, and I was just like, I need to. Then for some reason this summer I Turned Pretty was coming up, and I've never watched that, but then I was like into it, just even not watching the show, and I was like, okay, I'm getting too addicted, so I have no Twitter on my phone anymore.
Sorry, this is absolutely not my question, but have you ever watched Love Island UK?
No, I haven't, and people have told me to. And they said it's better, which is why I'm scared because I'm like, I know how much I like went to a watch party at Love Island. I'm in 2 Love Island group chats. I hosted a Love Island watch party, so yeah, like it was a bad obsession, and I was thinking about doing like a whole like game. If I had time, I was about to do like a whole Love Island game, like with my whole family, with all my friends, like where we had to dress up, couple up. Like I had it all planned out, but I didn't have time in between French and Wimbledon. But I mean, in between Wimbledon and here. But next season maybe.
Now, as someone who doesn't watch dating shows, I don't watch reality TV, I barely watch TV in general. I don't know how you get that obsessed with a show. I don't even know how you dress up for a Love Island show. I don't know. Because I don't watch the show. I have no concept of anything she was talking about, but it was fun and funny. And the press conference definitely did give us some great moments. I have my notes in front of me here, so I'm looking at that. Another really great moment from the Cincinnati Open was the match between Emma Raducanu and Aryna Sabalenka. Now, the final between Iga Swiatek and Jasmine Paolini was pretty good, but I do really think the match of the tournament was the match between Aryna Sabalenka and Emma Raducanu. I just think it was epic. It was one of those matches where I started watching it, and then I was walking around the grounds to go do other stuff, and it was just quiet. It was just really quiet, and everywhere I looked, everyone was watching this match. I walked into the merch store, and they had the match on the screen, and everyone was just watching the match. And then I stepped out, and you can look onto, like, when you step out of the merch store, you're in the common, which is like the main fan zone area where people can sit and eat and stuff. And everyone was just watching that match. It's just one of those moments at a tournament where everyone's focus is on one thing. And very few times do you get that moment at matches. And it definitely captured, I think, the imagination of everyone. And this is what Aryna and Emma had to say after the match.
But just from your perspective on the court, what makes her such a difficult player to face? And just also wanted to ask about your net play. You came to the net a lot at the end. And
Emma, like who?
yeah. What makes Emma a tough opponent? Yeah.
Well, I'm first of all, I'm super happy to once again to see her back and fighting in every tournament. I feel like she's improving and getting better, and definitely gonna get back in top 10. And she's moving well. She's a smart player. She's serving well. Even though sometimes you can see like where she's going, but the speed, the speed is very difficult to adjust to. So she's serving well and basically doing everything well. And yeah, coming to the net, Max will be really happy with this. I mean, he was really happy, but at the same time, he was like, yeah, but this is too risky, you know, like that last volley that I made on the line. But I was like, well, I didn't go there. I was aiming for half court, but like service line. But it went like really far, and I'm glad it was in. But I think I made a huge improvement on the net, and today my game on the net worked really well, which I'm happy with, and yeah, overall happy with the performance.
Like, just you said before this that this was a fact-finding match for you. So just curious what you take from this, and if I mean, obviously you've gotten closer to her, even if you couldn't win it. So yeah, what positives do you take out of this?
Yeah, that's a positive, you know. She's world number one for a reason, and I pushed her more than I did at Wimbledon, so that's an improvement. And also it was good to have this result on a hard court, because it's very different to grass, and I was always thinking, oh, like grass suits me a lot more, and I still believe that. So to have pushed her on a hard court like that, I'm pretty proud of. But yeah, I think starting the point is a big takeaway. I think she did that incredibly well, and in the big moments she served and returned really well, and me too in certain moments of the match, but to kind of hold that level on starting the point the whole match, I think is a big thing for me.
Hi, Emma. You mentioned in your last press that you feel like you do most of your work in practice and not really during the matches. Do you think, you know, matches like this you can still take things away from, or do you think you're now going to go back to practice and that's where the real work is going to take place?
Yeah, I think you take the lessons, you know, from this. I think I was able to play some good tennis for patches of the match, and I think it also dropped off for other patches of the match. So I think with work and going on the practice court, then I can do it for longer. I can hold the level high for longer. But that being said, I mean, we had a 3-hour match, and I felt pretty good out there for the most part against Irina, who's obviously achieved everything she has. So mostly positive.
Really, really, really great match, that one. And I think, you know, Emma's getting really, really close. And it's just really great to see her playing well. And I'm looking forward to when Emma and Irina play again, for sure. Might be at the US Open. I hope it is. Next up, I cannot have a best of list of Cincinnati without mentioning Terence Atmane, the magician, the enigma, the Pokemon card collector. He was epic. He was so good. I watched, surprisingly, a lot of his matches, because here on Ground Pass, our main aim is to follow the lesser known stories. So at tournaments, for the most part, other than, you know, trying to learn about the tournament, like where's the best place to sit? What courts are the best views? Like, you know, what courts have the best views? Things like that. I try and look for the qualifiers. How are they doing? Things like that. So I was following Terence Atmane. I was like, oh, he qualified. Let's see how he's doing. So I just was at most of his matches. And I was at one of his very first interviews with the press, and I was the only English-speaking journalist there. There was someone from L'Equipe, a French journalist, who also went to his interview. So it was just two of us talking to him. I'll put the audio of that interview after this. And you know, so it was great, because I got that one-on-one with him without, you know, everyone jockeying for questions. And he's just so fascinating and just so, real. And it's so rare to find that in people in general, let alone in athletes, that it was so great to then see him have such a great run and such a great moment. He was supposed to play the US Open, but withdrew actually yesterday because of the tight turnaround. And I actually think it's interesting because there's one way to look at it and be like, it's tight turnaround, and maybe they could have held back a wild card to see who could perform well at Cincinnati and maybe save one for someone like that. At the same time, I think it's so smart. He's in the top 100, he's in the top 70 now, so he's in the 60s. And yes, he could have probably played qualies and maybe lost in the first round of qualies, the second round of qualies, or get into the main draw, push himself, be exhausted. But I think probably for him, he didn't think he was going to go that far in Cincinnati. Probably didn't think he would make as much money as he did, getting all the way to the semifinals of Cincinnati. And now with his current ranking, he'll probably get direct entry into the Australian Open, which is the next Grand Slam next year, first Grand Slam of the year. He could probably take the US Open off, prepare for Asia, take the time, rest up, maybe go into training. I don't think it's the worst idea skipping the US Open, especially if there is a chance of him losing early. Either way, he's a very interesting character. And I don't know what I feel like he's still in New York. Maybe he's going to be playing doubles. That might be an idea too. Like if he pairs up with another French person and, plays doubles, who knows? But yeah, very, very fascinating character, and I will leave the interview I did with him here.
You coming in as a qualifier. Yeah. What did you expect coming in? Because this is a great.
I didn't expect nothing. I was just here to play some good matches, to get the rhythm back on hard court because I haven't played for a couple months. Mm-hmm. I know that I'm a very good player on hard court. I showed it on Challenger Tour, but I never showed it on the ATP Tour. So I'm pretty happy, to be honest, to be here. I had pretty much no expectation. I was just here to play some matches, getting ready for the US Open, So obviously it's a very big result for me, for my young career. Yeah. And I'm super happy to be here, and I can't wait to play my next match on Wednesday.
So both of your big matches have been on Stadium 3. Yeah. It's been great atmosphere for both of them. Absolutely. What has that meant for you to have that?
Well, I think that people came to support mostly my opponent and not myself, because I think that people don't know me yet. But it was very great. It's a beautiful court. As I said, to be honest, I think it's the most beautiful tournament I've seen. And I'm not saying that because I'm on the forefront major. I said it because of the structures, of the courts, of the crowd, of the conditions overall. And to be honest, I'm very surprised because for me it's the first time here in Cincinnati, and it's been very great so far. So I'm really looking for it. And I was just here to prepare a couple matches before the US Open. Yeah. I was about to go to Cancun for a challenger, but at the end of the day I'm here, so it's a good problem, I'd say. Yeah.
Right. But I mean, even if they were there to support, probably the other people. Yeah. So coming into a match like that, because the two people you played Cobolli and then you played Fonseca. Yeah. Up and coming, big names. They have a big crowd. Of course, yeah. Do you plan differently coming to a match like that?
No, because I prepared myself to it with my coach. We were saying that, don't be surprised if the crowd will not be against you, but the crowd will be with them. So it's a very big difference, because when you hit a winner and people are clapping for you, it's very different that when you hit a winner and people are booing for you. It's a whole different story. So I knew that people were about to support their player, but they were not about to be disrespectful to the other one, So to be honest, I didn't really feel like an intense atmosphere. I just felt that people were here to enjoy some tennis, some beautiful tennis. Mm-hmm. Doesn't matter who were about to win. Of course, they had their player, but they were also here to enjoy tennis. And I think this is the most important thing of the sport.
Awesome. I saw that after your first match against Cobolli, you put on the red jersey with the red.
Absolutely.
How do you have that?
That's a fan who gave it to me, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I was just walking there the other day, and a fan just gave it to me and he said, if you beat Cobolli, can you put the shirt on? And I was like, bro, absolutely. So he gave me the shirt, and then I went to a store to buy the cap of the Reds, because I'm a big cap guy. So, and yeah, you know, I was just respecting the deal that I had with the fan. And if he's listening to me now, I like a big shout out to this guy. And yeah, obviously, I don't know much about baseball, to be honest. So I know that Ben Sheldon made fun of me last night about it, but in the locker room. But I said to him that I'm gonna learn the rules of baseball pretty soon, and so I can be like really ready. You know, when I'm gonna put a show like that, I'm gonna be like, okay, so this player play there. This
Yeah.
So,
oh, that's incredible.
Yeah, I'm learning right now. It's like a very tough sport, so it's tough to understand for me. So, but definitely big team here. So
Okay.
have to.
Well, so you said, final question, you said, you know, those people who came to watch you probably don't know anything about you.
Yeah.
So for your next match, so that people can get to know maybe a few things about you, can you tell us maybe just a couple of things?
Couple of things. So I do have 3 cats.
Oh.
So
love
that's
cats.
the first thing. Second thing, I do own one of the biggest Pokemon cards collection in whole Europe.
Okay.
I'm a big Pokemon guy.
Yeah.
I do love anime. I like simple things of life. I like good coffee, you know, in the morning. And yeah, I do also magic tricks. That's why my nickname is the Magician, because sometimes people say I do magic off court and on court.
Yeah.
So that's also my nickname. And another thing about me.
How would you describe your tennis?
I will describe my tennis as someone who's really explosive and someone who's like really taking the advantage very early during the points. And I'm someone who likes to take risks, and someone who likes this kind of matchup, you know, with like a final set breaker or this kind of crazy atmosphere. I think that's something that I really like, and that's something that I think that's also something that I was working on like at the beginning. You know, I was like always wanted to play with like big crowd and a lot of people watching me. So now I'm here. So yeah, I really like these kind of things, and that's pretty much about me. Yeah.
Awesome. Good luck in the next round.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Another qualifier that I followed through and was another great moment of the Cincinnati Open was Ella Seidel, young German player. I think she's 20 years old. I think her story was maybe a little quieter than Terence Atmane's story, but again, she went super deep at the Cincinnati Open, made it all the way to the round of 16 from qualifying. And, you know, she had such an interesting situation because she was here alone without a coach. Her coach is meeting her in New York because she's going to be playing qualies in New York, but she was just supposed to be playing qualies. She was coming back from injury. This is her first tournament back from injury. She hurt herself during Wimbledon, and she just wanted to sort of get her legs back, and then was aiming to just go play qualies in New York, and ended up getting into the round of 16, which was really, really great. But yeah, really, really great story. Got to know her a little bit, and here is the interview that I did with her.
Yeah, I think it was a big fight. The conditions here aren't easy. It's very, very hot. And I think I had just to keep fighting, to keep thinking positive, and yeah, keep playing the ball in.
Ella, I feel like a lot of people who are on the court probably don't know who you are. So would you mind introducing yourself a little bit? Who is Ella as a tennis player?
Yes, I think I'm a very aggressive, offensive player. Like I try to play a lot of forehand, play aggressive. Yes, just keep going, keep fighting on court, and I love to play tennis.
So you qualified into this tournament. What have been your goals this year coming into the season?
Yes, at the beginning of the year, I tried, I was like, I think 150 or something. I tried to get into top 100. It's still my goal. I just had a small setback at Wimbledon where I torn my ligament in my right foot. And yes, it's just my second tournament back on tour, and I'm super happy with the progress and how it's going.
What goes into keeping your mental strength?
I think, I like to play. I like to adjust to the conditions, and also like trying to just keep the match competitive, and I think I'm just trying to think of, yes, just play the next point, just play the next shot, and then keep going.
Another sort of rudimentary question. How did you get into tennis? What drew you in?
My dad was playing tennis for a time, and we moved next to a tennis club, and then he started playing again, and yeah, he took me on court as well, and then I started, and then
Does he
went on.
coach you still or no?
No,
Okay.
no, and he also didn't. He
Okay.
just bring me into tennis.
Yeah.
Yes.
Whereabouts are you based?
Sorry?
Where are you based right now?
I'm in Munich,
Yep.
in Germany, yes. I'm from Hamburg originally, but my coach is from Munich, and so I moved there.
How long have you been there?
For a year and a half now.
Okay. Who's your coach?
He's not here, but it's Lars Übel. He's also from Munich, and yeah, we are working together for 1.5 years now. It's very, very fun, and we are doing a lot of progress, but he's just coming for the US Open.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, I mean, you're saying this is only your second tournament back from your injury. Do you have any specific goals for the US Open swing at all? I mean, this is a great, victory for you here.
I mean, here I was just trying to qualify first, and then, yeah, I mean, every match that I win is a huge win for me, and yeah, for this tournament, I mean, it's kind of funny, but I'm without coach, so I just wanted to stay in the tournament as long as possible so that I don't have too many practice days alone. And it's going very well. And then for the US Open also, I mean, the big goal is to qualify for main draw because I have to play qualies, and then let's see what happens.
So are you here with who are you here with?
No, I was with my physio, but he had to left now.
Yeah.
And now there are some coaches from the German doubles team who are watching my matches, but yeah, I'm without coach.
How do you like the conditions here?
Hot for sure, and I have to adjust. I mean, in Germany it's not that hot at all, and also the humidity isn't that high. And yeah, I have some problems sometimes with heat, but I'm just fighting through it.
What's the most surprising thing about life on tour since you've kind of started to, come up to these tournaments?
I really like it here. I
Yeah.
mean, it's so nice to play these big tournaments. The facilities are great. Everything is done for us, and we just have to play tennis, and I really like it.
Is Boss your sponsor?
Yes, it is.
Awesome.
Yes,
Okay,
for 2 years now.
2 years now?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Awesome.
I have a weird question. As a young player, you're just getting to know the anti-doping system. What's that been like, kind of with the whereabouts system, like given an hour of your day?
Yes.
What's that like for you?
Sometimes it's weird when they are coming also home and then waking you up at 6 a.m. or something like this. But I mean, it's part of the business, and it's all good.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, and finally, a few other quick things that were great in Cincinnati. I mentioned earlier on that I love plants. From the moment I walked onto the grounds of the Cincinnati Open, tennis garden. It is a tennis garden, and it is so well landscaped. I know. I mean, it's just so beautiful. It is so beautiful. Day 7 of Ground Pass on Site, I got to sit down with Christopher Lamond, who is the designer and of the landscape of the Cincinnati Open tournament. So check out that link that I'm going to leave to the publication, Ground Pass on Site, our Substack. Check it out. Listen to that interview. Just go to that just so that you can watch the video. Because, by the way, our Substack is a mix of video, writing, and audio. I know. It's a mix. I couldn't pick one. And I love visuals. So it's something you can watch. You can read a little bit, and you can also listen, because we put in all of the audio of the press conferences that we go to is all in there. So, I mean, we had press interviews with Holger Rune, with Carlos, with, Jannik Sinner's in there, Coco Gauff. Like, we have tons of interviews from all 7 days that we were there. So it's all in there. Go check it out. But yeah, love the landscaping of the Cincinnati Open. I loved meeting ground passers. Every day I met a new ground passer, and it brought me so much joy. It still blows my mind that there is someone on the other end of this here, either watching me on YouTube. Like and subscribe, please. Like and subscribe if you're watching this on YouTube. If you're watching this on Spotify, give us a 5-star rating. Thank you. And leave a comment. Oh my goodness. Leave a comment on Spotify. What should you leave on? You know what? If you're watching this on Spotify, just leave a comment letting me know that you are. Because I've been wondering how many people actually watch this on Spotify. I've gotten some comments that, like one person will, but they'll leave a comment on like Blue Threads and be like, yay, I saw the video on Spotify. But leave a comment on Spotify, just letting me know that you are watching it on Spotify. Yeah. But yeah, just meeting ground passers has been really great. Someone ran into me on the stairs recording a video, and it was really, really cute. And she was just so supportive, and that meant a lot. That really did mean a lot. So meeting ground passers was really, really great. I also got to interview Chris Harrison and Evan King. For me, they are the tennis story of the year. I don't care. They are the tennis story of the year. What they have done going from, in the 80s, they were outside of the top 80 in doubles, and now they're the number 1 American doubles team, and they're in the top 20 of the world in doubles. They made it to the semis of the French Open this year. It's incredible what they're doing in doubles, and it's really nice to see. Evan King said something great, and I'm going to try not to cry, because I cry every time I think about it. So I'm going to try not to cry. If you're watching this, hold me to it. But I first met Evan King in Champaign, Illinois last November. It was the very first challenger I'd ever gone to. If you look back on Ground Pass, in fact, you don't even have to. I'll leave it in the description of the YouTube video or the podcast here. And I will leave the link to The Real Challengers, which is a really short documentary series that we did where I went to this challenger and I kind of documented what it was like at a real challenger, and went to the Champaign Challenger in Champaign, Illinois. It was held at a university gym, very few people watching, and I interviewed Evan King there, and it was a great interview. It was really nice meeting him there. And here I am interviewing him at this brand new multi-million dollar facility in Cincinnati, Ohio, Mason, Ohio, technically. But at the Cincinnati Open at a 1,000 level event, and at the end of the interview, he looks at me and he goes, "We've come a long way from Champaign, Illinois." And I was like, yes, we have. Yes, we have. But yeah, those were the good things. Those were the good things of the Cincinnati Open. And this is probably going to be a long episode because I'm going to be including all of the audio from the press conferences, but I'm going to run really quickly through the worst because we don't want to dwell on the worst, but I have to mention the worst parts of Cincinnati. Number 1, $7 drip coffee. Like what? I live in New York City, one of the, if not the most expensive cities in the world. We do not have $7 drip coffee. Sir, ma'am, we do not have $7 drip coffee here. But in the Cincinnati Open, there's $7 drip coffee, and I was offended. It was good coffee, so I'll give them that, but it was not worth $7, and I think it was like 40 something cents. I was flabbergasted. Flabbergasted. But anyway, so that's one thing that was not great. Then there was the practice court seating. So if you go, I think it was episode 2. So it was day 2 of Ground Pass on Site. The theme was practice courts. And in general, practice courts were great at the Cincinnati Open, greatly improved. The seating's been improved. There are way more practice courts. The players were talking so much of practice courts because there are just so many of them now. They don't have to either wait or go to practice off site or anything like that. But at one of the practice courts, the main ones, on the side, the elevated seating they have on the very first row, if you sit on that, you can't see the court. Like, you can't. You just sit, and there's like there's a mesh wall. You cannot see the court. And I'm thinking, what? Who built this? Who did this? It's one of those things where it's like they just did it and nobody actually like went to go sit on it and, see if it worked. So I'm sure they're going to fix that for next year, but it was hilarious when I went to film and I was like, wait a second, I cannot see the court. Anyway, it's in the video. You can go see my reaction to see it. I was flabbergasted. The last thing. Cincy oven. #Cincy oven. I have never been this hot in my whole life. And it's not Cincinnati's fault. I mean, I think this is just where we're at with weather right now. And I think this is one of the hottest summers they've had. But it was oppressive. It was so hot. And it's hard on a fan to enjoy tennis that way, just even sitting and watching tennis, let alone playing high-level sport in the midday sun. I just don't know how you do it. I don't know how they were doing it. I don't know. Just so much admiration for tennis players who have to do that. My skin felt like I was in an oven, hence Cincy oven. Because I felt like I was cooking. Like, that's what my skin felt like. I don't think there was sunscreen strong enough to deal with that over so many hours being in that sun. So that was, and I don't know what the tournament could do. The one thing I would say is on the courts, there was surprisingly lack of shade. Now, they had some areas where some courts had shade, but it was very few and far between. Like, once we do our review, because we have tournament guides now. If you go to our website, groundpasspodcast.com, we have a website, link in bio. I'm hilarious, but link will be in the description. Anyway, we have a website, we do tournament guides, and a lot of stadiums, there's usually an overhang, and you can usually say, okay, at this time of day or on this side of the court, there's shade here, or there's shade over there. Cincinnati, no. A lot of the times, all the courts are just in sun, more sun. And you could just tell a lot of people, they were like, wow, Cincinnati looks so empty. All the courts look empty. Where are all the crowds? They're there. A lot of times they were in the common, in the fan zone area where there are tons of umbrellas, tons of shade, so they can just hang there and watch the tennis on the TV. Or they were in all the little pockets of tiny shade that they could hang at. And what was open was in the midday sun. And nobody wants to be hanging out in that for hours on end. It was really rough. They had a lot of withdrawals. They had a lot of, not withdrawals, but like retirements, people just not doing well in the heat. They had a lot of fans, need medical attention in the heat. It was bad. So, and what can a tournament do? It's the weather. It's just, it is what it is. And I think in general, this is something tennis is going to have to deal with going forward, because I think we're just going to become hotter as a planet. But that is a topic for another day. Thank you for joining me for another episode of the Ground Pass podcast. Please, wherever you're listening, give us a 5-star rating, leave us a comment, ask questions. What do you want to see more of? Let us know. If you're on YouTube, like and subscribe. The US Open has started. I've already been on site. I was there yesterday for the beginning of Fan Week. It was packed. It was packed, guys. If you're in New York and you're trying to go to the US Open, my one tip for you is show up early. Girl, show up early because it is packed already. I'm excited. We have so much coming our way. I think we're going to have some screenings coming up. I cannot say anything yet until everything is set in stone. Also, stay locked to our social media accounts, Instagram specifically, because we have something in the works in the next week or so. So if you want to be the first to know what's coming, stay tuned to that. But we have something coming. So excited. Bye, guys.